All right, so.
Mommy, do I? Mommy, I accidentally did it.
Okay, so here's the reference material. When you take the STAAR online tomorrow, it's going to have along the lines right here, it's gonna have a formula chart. It's gonna say formulas, and then you'll click it and it'll be on a separate window over here. It's gonna be a little bit small, so you're gonna have to zoom in to be able to see it. And you have highlighter. You can eliminate like you do on the regular test that we give you, and you'll be able to write. Okay? And on the writing feature, you're also gonna be able to plot points and draw lines. Okay. All right, so we're gonna start with the first one. Okay. And then we'll go over how to use the calculator if you need to. This is the calculator that you are going to want to practice with right now, because it's the one that you're going to be able to open up tomorrow, which just happened. There it goes. All right. Too fast, I guess. Practice. You want to do choose assessment, and you want to do Texas, because those are the features that you're going to be able to use. Okay? And you're going to click on this one, start, and this is the one you have. Okay? So this is the website, and then you're just going to make sure that you choose Texas as the assessment. All right, we're not going to use the calculator on all of them. Some of them we will, some of them we won't. ¿Qué pasó? It's okay. It's all right. Just cross it out. You cannot do that. Okay, what is the slope of this problem? And let me zoom in for y'all to be able to see it bigger. All right, so here we go. The slope is always going to be the number that's attached to the x. So we look for the x, and we make sure that it's in y equals. Okay, that means that the y is by itself. There we can say, hey, the slope is 12, because it's the number directly in front of x. Mamilo, it's okay. It's okay. That's why I had an extra one. Okay, so yeah. All right.
Do I just do this one the same?
Okay. You guys are okay with the first one? We're all right with slope being attached to x.
Inspired by your stories, I know I stand a chance. I will find that dragon.
Sorry. I'm gonna go back over because I can't see, but everybody okay with that part? All right. Okay, let's go on to question number 2. Question number 2, it gives you a picture. The first thing I want y'all to do is be able to go, okay, estoy trabajando, madre, okay? All right, the first thing I want you to do anytime you have a picture is go and read the question and figure out what it is you need. Do you need to go back and read the paragraph that's above the picture? Sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. It all depends on what the question is asking. This question is asking for domain. Okay? And when I look at the answer choice, it's not having anything with words. So I don't need to know what the X is, and I don't need to know what the Y stand for. I just need to be able to read the graph. So domain is the letter X. All right, and it is always from left. Alicia, bájale. Guadalupe, bájale. To right. Okay.
I'm done.
So this is 0, and this is 230. Okay. So we looked at the picture. We got our numbers from the picture. We know that domain is the letter X. Now all I have to do is figure out what answer choices matches with that. Okay. We cross out all the ones that have Y's, okay? And then we're choosing the answer choice that has those 2 numbers that we circled. Okay. Remember, what I'm doing right now, you guys are going to be able to do as well, because you're going to be using touchscreen computers tomorrow. Okay. So you can write on it whatever you need, or you can ask for scratch paper. Okay. So we eliminated 2 answer choices because we knew that the letter was X. And then we'll just use the one that has those numbers. sorry, guys. Hold on real quick. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, all right. Okay, do we have any questions on the first two problems? Are you guys okay with those first two? Anything, just either if y'all want to type in or in the chat box or anything, just let me know. Okay, on this problem, we're going to use the calculator. If you want to do it by hand, do it by hand, okay? But you want to use the calculator to solve this in case you want to just do it quickly. Okay, solving it is great. It's up to you if you want to do all the steps, but we got only 4 hours. So which value of x? So you know you're looking for the x value. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to type this part into the first box in Desmos, and then this part in the second box, okay? Wherever the equal sign is, the first box goes on the... Okay. Quítalo y dámelo. Quítalo de ahí. No, de ahí. Okay. All right, so we type in the first part, which is 1.25, parentheses, 4x minus 10, 4x minus 10, close parentheses, okay? So that goes in one box. In the other box, bájale, you're going to put what's on the other side, which is 7.5. And I got to put y equals, I forgot. So now you got this. You have a point of intersection, which is a system. Okay. You're just going to click on where they two intersect. I don't know why it's not letting me with my finger. I think this froze again. Sorry. There it goes. All right. So I want the x because that's what the problem is asking for. So my answer is 4. Okay. So all we did was that we put one part of the equation into one box and the second part of the equation to the second box. Okay. And we found where they intersect. So this is first box, second box, and then find x value of point of intersection. Okay. So we do all this right now together. You guys can watch it later and then just try to practice using the calculator. Okay. You need to be able to use the calculator. You have to practice for it. All right. Is everybody okay with how that problem was done? Any questions on how we typed it in? Any questions on how we just click on where they intersect? Is everybody okay? All right.
In the middle part, like when you click on it in the middle part, is that what it intercepts?
Yes. Where the two lines cross right here, that middle part, that's the dot.
Okay.
Okay. And usually what they'll do is when you, like I can unclick it, the dot's gonna appear already because it's letting you know that that's where the two lines intersect. You just have to click on the dot so it can tell you the numbers.
Okay.
Okay. We go to question number 4. Okay. Anytime you see the word equivalent, think about matching. You want to type in these equations to look for a match. That match means that they graph right on top of each other, okay? So we would take the first one. We just click the X to get out of those problems. Equals. And we type the problem that was in here, x squared. Okay. To get the squared part, you can just the keyboard and touch a squared. plus 15x minus 54. Okay. All right. So what I want to do now is I'm going to type in the answer choices that I have, and I'm looking for one that matches. That means that it graphs right on top of the green.
What's up?
Mommy's working.
Mommy didn't leave.
Tell her it was H&E Dutch.
It was H&E Ranch, Mommy.
Okay.
And it's permanently closed.
And it's preliminary closed.
Tell
Okay.
her Miss Lizzie's mommy got rushed to the hospital.
Miss Lizzie's mommy got rushed to the hospital.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'll talk to you in a little bit. I'm recording a meeting with my students.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. All right.
I'll talk to you later.
Okay. All right. Bye. Okay. So look, guys, you notice that I'm sorry that I got a lot of interruptions, but all right. So right here is the green. That's the original question. The answer choice is the one that's in purple. Okay. So whatever you typed in first, that's your question, and the other one's the answer choice. You want it to graph right on top of that green line, but it's not right now. So that means that's not my answer because they're not matching up. That's what I mean by match. All right. So then we do the next problem. The next one says this is 18. And this is minus 3. All I'm doing is just typing over it. I don't have to retype it. Now, I don't see the green anymore. I see just the purple. That means that they matched up perfectly, so they're equivalent. Matching up is the same thing as equivalent. They match up perfectly. So this one would be it.
Oh, press that way.
So graph question and one answer choice at a time. Okay. And then you're just looking for the word for them to match. Okay. So that's what you're going to do. Anytime you see anywhere in your questions that say equivalent, that's what you're looking for them to match by typing it in. All right. Here's this question. Okay. So like I told you before, the first thing I want you to do is not to read the paragraph above the graph or the pic or the table. I want you to read the question. Bájale. Ya se no te lo voy a quitar. Bájale.
It's down.
No, it's not. All right. Right here it says rate of change. So right away I know I'm looking for slope. Okay. So I don't need to know what this represents. Okay. I just need to know that they're looking for slope. So if I would have looked at my formula chart, then I would have known that slope is y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Okay? So you guys don't have to memorize that formula. You have it on your formula chart. Right? Now you pick your values. Your y values are always going to be the second row or the second column. Your first row or your first column is always going to be your y. So we just pick two y values. I'm going to pick these two just because they're in the front. So it's 24 minus 10. And at the bottom, it's 3 minus 1 because I have to match up the 24 and with its x value. All right. Well, when I go up here to Desmos, I just click the fraction bar. Okay. And there it goes. Not the fraction, the division bar. Okay. And there it goes. So I type in 24 minus 10 at the top. And I just hit the arrow down button on my computer and do 3 minus 1. It tells me the answer is 7. Okay. All I did was hit the division sign, which is this one right here, or on your keyboard, it's the one where the question mark is at. And I was then able to write at the top of it and scroll down and write at the bottom of it. Okay. And it gives me the answer to be 7. So I'll look for the answer that has 7. Right now, there's only one answer choice that has 7. If there would have been two answer choices that had the number 7, then that means that they were testing me over, do I know which one it's supposed to be the units? According to this, the units are feet for the y, and over here it says number of years. So year for the x. Okay. And the slope is always y, which is up here at the top, per x. Okay. Do we have any questions on what we just did right now on slope? put equals 7 right here. And then we scroll down. Okay, here's this question right here. What is the equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through those 2 points? Okay. There's a lot of different ways that you can do this. Okay. One way is that you can type the equation into the Desmos and then type in the ordered pairs and figure out which one is going through those 2 points. So let me show you. You would press the X anytime you want to get rid of stuff. So I'm going to put the ordered pair that they told me. They said -4 and 2. And then on the other one, it was 12 and 6. Okay. All right. So I would type in my first answer twist, which is y equals 0.25x plus 3. Okay. Look at that. Those 2 dots that I had, the red and the blue dot, that green line is going straight through it. That means that that's the equation for those 2 dots. And so that's my answer. Are you guys okay with what I just did? It says right here that it passes through the points. So I typed in those ordered pairs. Okay, so you have 2 lines. One line, the first box was -4, 2. The second box was 12, 6. And then in the third box, I don't want anything. Thank you. In the third box, I wrote my equation. And I was looking for which equation is going to go through those 2 points. Okay. Okay. So if nobody's saying anything, then that means we're okay. And I'm going to go on to the next one. Okay, you guys just need to stop me if you need me to do something again in Desmos or show you how to do it again. Okay. All right, here's this equation. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do first is all they want me to do is just look at the graph and see which one matches that equation. So what I want to do is see if I can type it into Desmos like this. Okay, sometimes it might let you and it might not. So let's try it. We're not going to do anything to the equation, but just type it in exactly the way it looks. So -5y equals -6x plus 15. Okay. How do I know that this isn't graphing other than I don't see anything on here? It has the question mark. Okay. That's going to tell you right there, hey, you can't graph that. It's not going to let me do it. And that's fine. Okay. You just need to know if it's not going to let you do it or not, and then you can figure out what to do. Okay. It doesn't want me to graph because I have a number in front of this y. Okay. Well, what do I do when 2 things are attached? The only way to get rid of them is to divide. So I'm going to highlight these 2 things, and I'm going to hit the division sign. And I'm going to divide by the number that I have in front of that y, which is -5. And I'm going to erase it from over here. Now, that question mark is gone, and it graphed it for me. Now, I want this graph to match one of these, but when I'm looking at it, all these are going by from -9 to 9, or you can say -10 to 10. But my picture, because I was doing something else, remember when I was like zooming out and in, it's not going by that, it's going by tens. So for me to be able to get the graph to go from -10 to 10, all you guys have to do is click on the little home button. Okay, the little house. Notice the house isn't there anymore once I click it because it's already in the standard position. Okay. So this is the picture that I need to match over here. Okay. This picture doesn't match it. And this dot is -3, and that's 2.5. So let's see. The answer would be this. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is graph it into Desmos to see if you get that little exclamation point. If it does, then that means you have to do an extra thing, which is to get the y by itself. If it doesn't give you that exclamation point, then that means that it graphed it. And then you would just bicep this step. Okay? You always want to try first, guys, and see if it gives you the exclamation point, because you never know. Okay? The system might be outdated, or it might let you go through. If it does, great. If it doesn't, you just have to do that extra step about solving it for y. Right. We are right so far? Like, we understood y divided by -5?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, okay. So, let's say that you didn't want to use the calculator. You didn't want to use the calculator. You could have just divided by -5. And you could have noticed that, hey, two negatives make a positive. And then 15 divided by -5 is -3. So this is your y-intercept. So it has to go through -3. And then this is a positive slope. So you would have just looked for which graph has a positive slope. But remember, it's up to you what you remember. You want to go through the test and be able to do the problems that you feel like you don't need a calculator for, or that you remember how to use the calculator, right? So this one doesn't have a picture, so that means we need to read the whole entire thing. A baker determined that the annual profit in dollars from selling pies using P of n equals 52n minus 0.05 n squared, where n is the number of pies sold. What is the annual profit for if the baker sells 400 pies? Sells 400, n is the total number of pies sold. So that means everywhere I see the letter n, I'm going to put 400 in. So I'm going to type this into the calculator. Okay, just like that. And that's a 0, by the way. So I go back to Desmos. I can clear this off if I want to. It was 500 times 400. Was it 5? Oh, it's 52. I don't know why I put 500. Okay, 52. And then it was minus 0.05, 400. And then to get the squared part, I just click a to the second. And there it gets. This is my answer, 12,800. So then I just circle that. Okay. All right. Number 9. Okay, I go and read the problem first. It says that the function is represented by the graph. Okay, so they want to know which one's going to best represent it. And I go up here because I want to know what type of thing is going to be. Right here, it tells me exponential. Okay, so that means that I make sure that all of these answer choices has an x as the exponent, and it does. First thing I do before I even touch the calculator is look for the y-intercept. Okay, because according to the exponential formula, a b to the x, the a is the y-intercept. Okay. We scroll down here and we look at the answer choices. We want a to be in front of the parentheses. The only answer choices that have the 6 in front of the y-intercept is b and a and b. So these are out. Now I can use the calculator. I can figure out which one of those answer choices when I type into Desmos is going to look close to what I have on this picture. Okay, let me take this part off and look at that. All right, we're going to do the first answer choice, which is y equals 6, parentheses, 1 divided by 3. To get out of the denominator, hit the right arrow button and close the parentheses. To get the x to be a variable, you guys need to click on this one right here and type in the letter x. Okay, so let's go back and see which one is going to look the best. Okay, so I know this is 1 and 2. And then, okay, let's see if it worked. Which one's closest? All right, it was 1 and 2. I think that's the answer. We're just going to double check by putting this one to be a 3, and it doesn't work. So yeah, that has to be the first answer choice. Okay. All right. So all we did was look at the y-intercept first. We eliminated the answer choices because they weren't written in the correct format, and that leaves us with 2. Okay? So we didn't do all the work. We didn't do one by one. We eliminated answer choices first. Okay. Here's this one. This one says which equation the slope-intercept crosses the x-axis at 36 is the perpendicular to it. All right. Perpendicular means that they're intersecting at a 90-degree angle. Okay, so what we're gonna do first is we're gonna type in this equation first, and then we're gonna type in the answer choices and figure out what's gonna work. Okay, it's -4/9. Move the right arrow button over so we can get x, and then +5. Here's that equation. We know that it needs to be perpendicular, so we're going to type in our first answer. Y equals 4 divided by 9 plus 16. Okay, all right. We're going to zoom out a little bit. Okay, so here's the two intersecting. Now, you can ask for scratch paper, and you're also going to have your testing ticket. Remember, the best thing to do is use what you have. A 90-degree angle is the corner of a paper. Okay. So what you can do is just take this and put it over to where the two lines intersect and try to make it fit. When I do that, I'm sorry, I'm doing that at the top. When I do that, it doesn't fit. It's too small. That means this is the bigger angle than 90 degrees. So this one isn't my answer choice. I type in the next one that says -16. Okay. And I have to zoom out so I can see this one. But hey, that looks even bigger than the one before it. So that one's not an answer choice either. So I go to my next one, which is 9/4. Okay, so let's erase this. 9 divided by 4, move over x, and then it's +81. Okay. I do the same thing. I get this, and I try to see where they intersect, and it's not fitting to this right here. So that one's not it. So we try the last one. Okay, we go there and we get the 2, and hey, it connects perfectly. Even if I zoomed it out, it still connects. This right here connected to one of the pictures right there on the screen, and that shows that it's 90 degrees. Okay. So like I said, you're gonna have a piece of paper, you're gonna have your testing ticket. Those corners are 90 degrees, so you can use that to try to figure out which one of those equations was perpendicular. And so my answer was this one right here. Okay. You're gonna have 62 questions on your test. Only 54 of them count, so 8 of them are just like questions that are there for practice, but you don't know which count or don't. So you have to take the test like all the questions count. All right, so here's a picture again. I told y'all to read the question first to figure out what it is you need. Okay. So right here, it says it wants the domain and the range. Okay. All right. So I have to look for the left to right for the domain first. Okay. And then for the range, it's from the bottom to the top. So let's look at the domain first. And let's look from the left to the right. Okay. All right. So from the left, this is my first dot. It's 100 for the y, but I go all the way to the bottom to figure out what it is for the x. So for the x is 0. Okay. Now I go all the way to the right. Here's where the graph stops. This right here is the x where it stops. Okay. The y is 0 where it stops. Okay. So I'm looking for my answer choice that has the 0 and the 50 for the domain. Okay. This says all real numbers greater than or equal to 0 and less than 50, than 100. Well, that's not right because we said it has to be 0 to 50. So this question's out. Because it doesn't say 0 to 50, it says 0 to 100. Now, the answer choice number 2 is gone because there's no negatives anywhere on this picture. Yes, it is. Okay. And this one says 0, 50. Okay. So this one might be an answer choice, but I need to look at the last one. The last one says 100, and we said it was supposed to be 0 to 50. So this one's gone. Okay. So all we did was read the graph. Range is from left to right, and domain is left to right, and range is bottom to the top. Okay, bottom to top. All right, we got this one right here. So it says the quadratic parent function. So it says quadratic parent function. You're supposed to memorize that equation, right? Maybe you don't memorize it. Okay. If you don't, then I'm going to show you another way to do this. Now, if you do memorize it, then all you want to do is write that one in first. So I'm going to show you both ways. So this is in case you don't know what the equation is for the parent function. Okay. Sometimes people forget and it's fine. Okay, there we go. This one would be g of x equals fx plus 2 minus 5. Okay, so you're looking for the picture that looks like the purple one. Okay, all right, so the one that looks like the purple one was h. That's all we did. All right, but let's say, and I'm going to change color, let's say that you guys forgot that part. You forgot that, hey, f of the parent function is x squared. Let's say you just forgot that. Okay. If you forgot that, I hope that you remember that in order to write the vertex, which is the middle curve, you do the opposite of the parentheses. So opposite of that is -2, and you take the number on the outside, which is -5. So all you're doing is looking at the middle of the curve and figuring out which one has -2, -5 in it. Okay? So those are your two options on how to do this. Either you remember that the parent function for quadratics is x squared, or you do the vertex, which is the opposite of the inside and the number on the outside. Okay? Those are your two ways to be able to get this question. Okay, now we got this problem. Okay, so for this problem, we read the question first, and it says it wants you to, which inequality best represents all the combinations, and it tells you what the x and the y is. In this problem, the x represents the sausage links, and the y represents the briskets. Okay, so I go and I read the problem to figure out what number is going to go in front of each one of those variables. This right here says that it's 2 pounds of brisket. I'm sorry, the sausage links are 2 pounds, and the brisket is 6. It says the word combinations in the word problem, so I know that has to be a plus. No more than 120 pounds of sausage or links can be cooked. No more means that it has less than or equal to 120. Okay, so I go through my answer choices and I figure out which one looks like this, and it's this answer choice. Okay. The question is always going to tell you what the letter X and the letter Y represent, and then you just go back and read the problem and figure out what number goes with what they're talking about. So when they were talking about sausage links, the only number that was there was 2. They were talking about brisket, the only number there was 6. Okay. The key words to know what the slopes are going to be is going to be per, each, or every. Anything that's talking about multiplication is going to be where the variable is going to be located. All right, we got this one right here. This one says equivalent. Okay, you can type all of this into Desmos if you want to, or you can just kind of do some simple math, but it has to do with integers. So I don't know how everybody is with integers. Okay, so remember, you're just looking for it to match up. So let's go ahead and use Desmos because we were practicing using Desmos anyway. So you're going to type in this whole entire problem into Desmos, and then do one answer choice at a time. So it says parentheses 10 plus 7r minus, oh, I can't do r, I have to do x, minus x squared. Okay, you can't use any other letters than x or y. And then it was plus in the middle, -6 x squared. Then it was -18, and it was plus 5x. Gotta go back and delete this right there so I can put it over here in the back. All right, so there's my picture. There it is. All I did was close this so I can see it and move it. You're gonna be able to do that on your test tomorrow because your screen is touchscreen. All right, let's do the first answer choice. Negative 7x squared, and then plus 2x.
No, I stopped eating that. No, my she's gonna eat all of it. She's gonna eat all of it, mommy. Look at how much there is.
All right, so here's this one. It doesn't match. It only matches a little close, but it's not even on top of it.
I'm having this for. She's gonna eat all of them.
Estoy hablando, ya, tranquilas.
She's not gonna eat it all.
Ahorita escribes tu nombre a esas cosas. All right, so this one doesn't match, but we do know that it's going in the same direction because that black line is going down. So we know that we need to have a negative 7 in the front. So that helped us out by knowing that, hey, I'm going to cross out the ones that are positive. And I would change what this says. This one has plus 12r and then minus 8. So we're going to change this to plus 12x and then minus 8. Now it matches up. So that's my answer. All right, so we have any questions? We're on number 16, and we're going to go all the way through all this whole entire practice test to make sure you guys understand how you can use Desmos for it. We're on this question. So, all right, so let's see if it lets us graph it. We're going to type it in exactly like we see it. The only way we're going to know it's not going to graph it is if it gives us a question mark. It gave us a question mark right here, so that means that we can't do that. So I have to go back and I have to remember, all right, well, what do I remember from middle school? Or what do I remember from class? Well, in middle school, we were told that we can only use open circles for this symbol. Open circles represent dash lines. Okay, so that means I am looking for something that only has a dash line. So it wouldn't be A, and it wouldn't be B. Now I go back and think about, okay, when I have greater in middle school, that they told me that always meant that I was going to the bigger numbers, okay, the positive numbers, which is true. So when I'm greater, I'm trying to shade the most of the positive Y values. So right here is shading the negative values over here, most of it, and only that little short part is my positives. And when I go down to the bottom, here is all my positives. So it's shading a bigger piece than the negatives. So then that means my answer is D. It's shading above. Sorry, I didn't mean to write that part. All right. So now we go to this problem. All right. So right here it says the bank account is earning an annual compound interest was opened and no additional deposits or withdrawals were made after the initial deposit. The balance in the account after X years can be modeled by B of X is 100 equals 850, then parentheses 1.025 to the X. What's the best interpretation of the values? All right, so it already told you that 850 is the initial deposit, okay? Because it's the number in front of the whole entire equation. So I look for stuff that talks about initial. This talks about initial, but it says it's supposed to be 1,025. It's not 850. This one has 850 in it, but it says that that's at the end. And that's not supposed to be the end. It's supposed to be in the initial. So this one's out. Now I look at the number that's inside of the parentheses. The number inside of the parentheses is 1.025. I subtract from 1 all the time so that I can figure out if this is going to be a growth or decay. When I subtract by 1, I'm going to get a positive number back. So because I got a positive number, this is going to be in growth. Growth means increase. So I look for the answer choice that has the word increase in it, and it's this one. Now, if I would have subtracted the 1 and I would have gotten a negative answer, then that's how I know that that would have been a decay, and I would have looked for the part that said decrease. Okay, here we got this one. All right, so what I want y'all to do for this one is you're gonna have to hit the plus sign for table, and you're gonna have to enter these values on the table. Okay, we're not gonna do anything of all that stuff that we did in class where I told y'all to do the Y1 and X1, all that stuff. We're not doing that part. So we close this part out and we do the plus sign, we do table, and we type in those values. 5, 10, 15, and it was 20, 25, 30, 35, and 40. Hey, cebolla hasta acá, bájale. And now I do 3, 10, 17, and the next one is 27, 44, 64, 87, bájale que lo oigo hasta acá, 112. All right, I hit the magnifying glass so I can see most of the dots. Okay, so I noticed that all these dots are increasing, okay? They're all going up. So that means that my equation needs to have a positive number in the beginning. So I go to my answer choices and I look for which one of these has a positive number in the beginning. Okay, because that's the one I'm gonna want. This one doesn't have a positive, so this one's gonna be out. And this one's gonna be out too, because those have negative numbers. I want the one that has a positive because I saw all those dots were going up. So I'm gonna type in the first one, and I'm gonna see if it goes through a lot of the points. All right, so y equals 0.0072 x squared. I think that's how it was written, or I just put too many zeros. Okay, the dot was supposed to go in between those. I'm gonna delete the dot over here. Okay, and then it was minus 0.15x, and then it's plus 2.73. Okay, so I look at this, look at it. It's going through as almost all of them except for like 1, 2 of them. This is the closest we're gonna get. Let's double check and make sure we check the other answer choice. That one just says to take this part in the middle off. Okay, no, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dots that are 6 dots because that's one's really close. So no, the best one is the one that has the least number that's not going through it, okay, or the most number of dots going through it. So I would go back to my question and I would circle this. Okay, remember tomorrow you're gonna have one screen for your test and one screen for Desmos. Okay, we go to the next question. This one, we go and we read what it says and wants you to write the rate of change. Okay. Remember, rate of change is slope. So we do y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. That's on your formula chart. Okay, so we do 2 minus 3.4, 5 minus negative 3. So we take this off by clicking the X. We hit the division, so we get a fraction, and it was 2 minus 3.6, 5 minus negative 3, negative 0.2, okay? All right, this is what we're gonna do. It's going to be a griddable. You're going to have 5 squares. The first square, you're gonna put minus. Okay, if it's a positive number, you would have put plus. And now you put 0.2. And you type it in. Right now, I can't type it in because I don't have the boxes, but you're going to use your keyboard to type it in. Okay, you can't type in any letters. You can't type any fractions in. 3 decimals are a whole number. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so far, any questions? Are we okay? Anything we need to go back and look at? Everybody all right? Okay. So this one says best represents again. So we're going to type that equation in and see what we look for. So y equals negative x squared plus 6x minus 1. Okay. We're going to hit the home button. And here's our picture. We're looking for this one. Okay. All right, I'm going to look for something that's going up to 8 and that it's right here at -1 and over here at -1 by 6. Okay. Let's see. That one is at 8. Yeah, this one's it right here. Letter A. It was opening down, yeah. Okay, so that's it with that one. We just typed it in. Y'all may be like, this one's up here, but look at this one. This one's up at 10, and we were looking for 8. Now we're at number 22. Okay, we look at the question first. This one says, based on the table, what is the best prediction of the number of clicks on the advertisement if 1,500 people visit the website? So we're going to kind of do the same thing. We're going to type in the table, but we're not looking for the equation that's going to match. But you still need to type this problem in. So plus table, and you're going to type in those values. 153, 629, 471. I got out of this. 471. 914. 307. 1045. 5. 1106. Go to the other side, we type in those numbers. 14, 38, 30, 53, 21, 60, 32, 63. Okay, we're going to hit the magnifying glass, okay, so that we can see all those dots. All right, there they are. Now we go back to the question. The question wants us to predict for about 1,500 people visit. Well, go and figure out, well, which value is that supposed to be? Is that supposed to be X or Y? X is the number of visitors. So the 1,500 is the X. So I type in over here, X equals 1,500, no commas. And the line is over here. So if I were to make this line keep going, all these dots, then I would connect over here in 80, okay? Notice these are going by like 5s, so it doesn't make it all the way, okay? So it would be close to 80 over here, either 85, 86 or something, but the only answer choice is close to 80 is 83, so that would be my answer, okay? Right, like how would you know that it was the Y value? You could have done Y equals, then you would have gone back. You have to make sure you read the table. It said 1,500 people visit the website. The only one that talks about visiting the website is the X. So that's why I know that X was equal to that. Okay, here's number 23. This one is asking you for which one is the best represents this graph. Okay, so we're going to try typing it in exactly the way it looks. Okay. Hasta rato, déjame hacer mi trabajo. Okay, then thank you for putting it right there. Okay. It said Y plus 2 equals 7 divided by 5. X parentheses X plus 7. I have a question mark here, exclamation point. It says they won't do it like this. Okay, so that means that we need to move this plus 2. In order to move it, we need to do the opposite. So the opposite of a plus 2 is a minus 2. Right. Hit the home button so we can see the regular. So look at this picture and I try to make sure that it matches what I have. It doesn't because it needs to be down here at the bottom. So I know that problem's out. Okay, let's go and do the next one. The next answer choice has the same thing, but it has a -7 in here. And then this one would have been -2. So I know that when I do that, I have to do the opposite. The opposite is +2. And I take this part off. All right, let's see. This one is going in the same direction, but let's see. This y-intercept is around by 8, and this one's around by 5. So let's look at this over here. And that's supposed to be at -3, so that's not it. So those two answer choices are gone. So we scroll down and we figure out, okay, let's do this one. All right, I know that this was supposed to be +2, but when I do the opposite, it's going to be -2 on the back. And then this one is a plus in the inside. All right, okay, that's not it because, let me see, did I have the right thing? It's 5/7 now. All right, 5/7. Okay, still not right because it needs to be down here. So this part is wrong. That means my only answer choice, this one's left. So let's change this. This should have been a minus. And that would have been a minus over here. So when I changed it, it would have been a plus. And there it goes. It matches up perfectly. All right. So we okay? Kind of did that kind of quick. Let me see if I can just write it up here. When we typed it in, we got the exclamation point. So we knew that it wasn't going to let us type it in this way. So what I had to do was for each one of these problems, I had to move this over. And when I moved things over, they changed their sign. So this was a -2, +2, -2, and +2. And I wrote it outside of the parentheses. And then we just matched it up. All right, this one right here is when you have to look at your formula chart. So let's go all the way to the front. So y'all can see round number 17. Okay, according to my formula chart, I have something in the parentheses, and I don't know why it makes me keep writing on this. All right. Okay, we have something in the parentheses, and according to this equation, you're supposed to multiply. That's what the m and the n mean together. So let's go back to page 17. Okay, and I'm going to multiply. So I have x1 times 2. That's x2. So I eliminate all the ones that don't have x2. Then it's x -6 times 2. That's, I'm sorry, not x, that's y. So this is y -12. There you go. Okay, now here's this one. A college student completed some courses worth 3 credits and some courses were worth 4. And he earned a total of 59 credits and he completed 18 courses. So some courses, there's 2 different types of courses, 3 credit and 4 credit. So altogether, he completed 18 courses. Some were 3, some were 4, and together he completed 59 credits. Okay. Now, I look through my answer choices because I need to know about numbers that make sense, reasonable numbers. Okay. He can only do 18 classes. That means the number for x and y have to be smaller than 18. These two numbers are not smaller than 18. Okay. The only answers left are 13 and 5. All right. Let's see if the calculator will let us type it in like this. If not, we're going to have to do some work. Okay. X plus y is equal to 18. Gives me a question, a little exclamation point. That means they won't let me do that. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the x over to the other side. When I move it over, it becomes a minus. So we got that question. Next, when we type it in exactly the way that we see it, 3x plus 4y equals 59. I get the exclamation point. I know I need to move this. When I move it over, it's going to become a negative. Okay, it changes the sign. I still get an exclamation point because I have a number in front of the y. So I highlight that, hit the division key. I ruined my highlighting part. And I'm going to divide by that number in front of the y, which was 4. Now I erase it from here with the home button. I zoom with my fingers or with my keyboard, and I look for where these two lines intersect. Notice that all I did was touch one line. As soon as I touch that one line, it gives me the dot. I just click on the dot. The answer is 13 and 5. I know you guys are going to be like, well, both of those numbers are on my answer choices. Yes, but you have to know that you're looking for the letter X. So the X is 13. So my answer is 13. Because right up here, I know it was X, as I said the X is where the 3 credit, and we put 3X. So my answer is A. Here's, we go to number 26. We're almost halfway there. It wants to know what the 0 is. Okay. All right. So we look at our answer choices, not answer choice, formula chart, and we're looking for a point slope formula. Right here, y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1. So I go back to page 18. How do I know that's the formula I need to use? They gave me a point, and they literally gave me a slope. So I do y minus negative 9 equals negative 3x minus 1. Okay. I try to type it in exactly the way it looks, like I have it right here. And we'll see if we get an exclamation point or not. 9 equals negative 3x minus 1. Give me an exclamation point. That means that I can't have this. So I do the opposite of this minus. The opposite is plus negative 9. So I take this part off. That's not what I wanted to take off. I want to take the part over here. So here it is. And then we click on the X because it wants the 0. 0 is your X-intercept. So my answer is negative 2. Okay. All I did was write it into the formula, point slope. Okay, remember, you're going to have your formula chart. You're going to look for it, and you're just going to plug in the numbers the way it is. So I did, it was a minus, and I just plugged in the negative 9. Minus negative 9. X was 1, so X minus 1. All right, here's this one, another open-ended question. What is the value of the y-intercept? The y-intercept is the number that's in front of the parentheses because this is an exponential function, okay? Exponential means that the letter x is the exponent, so that automatically makes the y-intercept the number in front of the parentheses. So the answer is 29. So you would just type in 29, 2 and a 9. A 2 in one box and the 9 in the other box. Okay, we're halfway there. We go to this one. Okay, this one wants us to know which one best represents the graph. So we're going to type in one answer choice at a time, and you're going to try to figure out which one of these matches this part right here. So let's see. X squared minus 3. So yx squared minus 3x, go back over here, minus 9. All right, so here's my point, but this doesn't look exactly, no, it doesn't look exactly like this picture. Okay, this picture is going through 0, 0, and 6. And this picture is going over here at this dot. It's not going through 0, so that can't be it. Okay, we choose the next answer choice. It has a plus 3x. Okay. That's all that changed. All right, this one is still not going through 0, 0, so that can't be it. All right, this one is x squared minus 6x, so take away the 9, minus 6, and hey, this one works. It's going through 0, 0, and it is going through 6, so that's my answer. Okay, all we did was graph the equations and look for which one was going to match what we have right here in this picture. Again, we have the word equivalent here. Remember, equivalent means we want it to match. So we're going to type in the question and then one answer choice at a time and figure out which one's going to match. So we take this, we do 24x squared minus 22x plus 5. Now I'm gonna hit the home button, look a little bit better. Okay, parentheses. $12x plus 5. And we do the next answer choice. 2x plus 1. Okay, nope, they don't match. Okay, so then we go to the next one. 8x minus 5. And then the other parenthesis says 3x minus 1. It's close, but not really there. Okay. All right, let's do 12x minus 5. So let's change this to 12x. And then this one would be 2x minus 1. Hey, it matches up perfectly, so that's my answer. Okay, we just type it in until we get a match. All right, we're here on this one. Okay, so for this, it's a picture. We're looking for which one is going to represent. So we're going to look for the match. Which equation matches that? So we're going to type in the first one. Cross these out. Y equals negative x minus 4. Then we click on the next one. 2x minus 2. Okay, let's see how it goes. All right, it's supposed to intersect down there. But when I look at the picture is intersecting at the top. So that one's not my answer because it's not intersecting in the right position. All right, this one's plus 4. This one's y equals minus 4. It's supposed to intersect over here on the left, so that one's not an answer. We go to letter H, x minus 4. So we're going to change that and change this one. And then this one is negative 2x minus 2. Okay, that's intersecting down there, so that's not my answer. That means the last one has to be my answer choice. But let's just double check. X plus 4. And then negative 2x minus 4. And yeah, it intersects over on this side. It was the only one that did that. Okay. We go on to the next one. This graph. Okay, wants to know the one that's going to best represent this. Okay. All right. So we go back up and we figure out if it says anything in the before the table about what type of equation it's supposed to be. This says it's supposed to be exponential. Okay. Exponential means that the y-intercept has to be in front of the parentheses. Okay. This has 15, so that one's out. This one has 15, so that's out. Okay, so now I'm going to type in my answers that I have left over and figure out if it has these points in it. This is out. Y equals 18. 6 divided by 5. Close parentheses. We're going to hit this A to the B to get X. All right, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Okay, so I just need to make sure that these ordered pairs are on there. What I can literally do is just type in the ordered pair. Negative 2, comma, 12.5. And hey, that dot's on it. Okay, let's change it to negative 1, comma, 15. So this is going to be 15. And this is negative 1. It's on it. All right, the next one is 18 and 0. We know that one's on it because that's the y-intercept. Okay, we're going to change this to a positive 1. And this is 20 something. 21.6. That's on it. All right, the next one's 25 something. 25.92. And then that's the number 2. And it's on it. So all those dots were on it. Another thing we could have done was just gone to the plus in the table and typed in that table and figure out, make sure that the all the dots were on this line right here. But yeah. Forget that I have to do the arrows on here. All right, we go to the next question. Okay, this one right here wants to know which one's going to model it. So let's do what we should have done in the last one, which is to make the table. So we hit the X plus and a table, and we're going to type in our values in there. 1, 3, 6, and 7. 1, 3, 6, 7, and I typed over the 3. Okay, we look at the numbers. 21, 15, 6, and 3. Okay, we look at the answer choices. These numbers are going down. If you look at the Y's, they're going down. So right there, it should tell me, hey, this number needs to be negative, but all these have negative in it. So that doesn't help. All right, so let's go ahead and put the equation in there. Instead of using n, we're going to use x. So y equals negative 3x plus 24. And that's it, right? Okay, let's see. Do all these dots go through it? And yes, they do. All these dots are on it. So that means that this is my answer. I didn't even have to type anything else in. Okay. All we're doing it when it says the model that represents the situation or the best model, we're looking for most of the dots to go through it. Okay. Here's this one. Hey, this one gave you the 2 equations. So all you're going to do is type in exactly how it looks and see if Desmos lets you do that. So f of x equals x squared, g of x equals, and it says f of x minus 9. Okay. All right, this right here says it's a reflection across the x-axis. Reflection across the x-axis means that it reflects going down, but they're both going in the same direction. So that can't be it. The next one said the vertex was moved 9 units to the right. All right, so here's the vertex right here at 0, 0. To the right, 9 would be over here, and it wouldn't be lower. This is a little bit lower, so it would just be over here at 9. So this one's wrong. Next one says the reflection across the y-axis. If it's a reflection across the y-axis, it would be the exact same width, and this blue one is a little bit wider. Okay, you see how it has this space in between the red and the blue, so that doesn't match. That means my last one has to be the answer. The last one says the y-intercept is 9 units below. The y-intercept was at 0, 0, and yes, it moved down to 9. So the answer is that one. All right, this one right here. Okay, this is an open-ended question, but we already did something like this. We did it with parentheses, and we know that the formula chart said that you multiply the 2 things. So that would be 21. But now what do we do with these 2, with x22 and x21? We go back to page 1, we're on page 22, and we look at the formula chart when they're being multiplied, which is this one right here, and it says that you're supposed to add. So we just add 21 and 22. We add the 21 and the 22. So 21 plus 22, and my answer is 43. So you're not going to put the letter X, okay? They asked for the value of P. They didn't ask for X. So you're just going to put in your little boxes the number 43, and if you want to put plus, you do. Okay? But you do not put the letter X, okay? They never want a variable in there. Here's this one. It wants to know which statement must be true, okay? All right, so what we can do is plot the 2 points they gave us. All right, negative 7, 0. And then the other one was 1, 8. All right, first one says that the rate of change is, let's see what it said, because I can, negative 4 over 3. Okay, so let's do the slope. Division key, and it's going to be 8 minus 0, and then 1 minus negative 7. The slope is 1, so that's wrong, because then negative 4 over 3. Okay, it says that negative 1, 8 goes through it. Okay, so let's cross this one out, and it said negative 1, 8. And we're going to Zoom this out. Okay. So the red and the green dot are supposed to make a line. If I connect those two together, that red line, that red dot is not going to be on it. So that's not an answer. Oh, whoa. Okay, so that's not going to be an answer. Next one, 0 is 7. Okay. A 0 is 7 means that the x-intercept is 7. The 0 x-intercept would be over here if it was positive 7. So that's wrong. And then it says the x-intercept is negative 7. Yeah, that's one of right here, negative 7. So my answer is D. Hopefully, okay, no one stopped me yet, so I'm wondering if everybody's okay with this so far. No one said anything so far. Okay, so we're gonna go back over. All right, so right here, which expression is equivalent? Again, it's equivalent. So equivalent means that you guys are looking for the match. Right? Remember, you can graph these into decimals, but you have to use the letter X. Okay? So we're going to graph it. We're going to graph the question, and then we're going to graph one answer choice at a time, and we're going to figure out which one matches. So it's 210x squared minus 63. D. Okay, I can't really, oh, X, my bad. All right, I can do the home button and we see it's right there. Okay, we click one of these and type it in. 21B, 10, and I don't know why I keep using D when I can't use it. So sorry. Okay, let's see. I think these two match up. Okay, let's zoom in just to make sure it matches up. And yeah, it matches up perfectly. So that is my answer. Just to make sure that they matched up perfectly. Okay. All right, we go to the next question. This one wants to know what's the solution going to be for X. Okay, so let's try to see if it's going to type it in. Let us type it in exactly the way it looks. So 3x minus 5y equals 22. Okay, I have an exclamation point, so that means it's not going to let me do this. Okay, so I need to move the x first. So that means when I move it over, it's going to become negative. So I can take it off of this one. Now I need to get rid of the negative 5. And in order to get rid of negative 5, I'm going to have to hit the division key and type in negative 5 at the denominator. And then I can delete it from here. So there's that equation. All right. Okay, now I'm going to do, what's this dot right here? I don't know. Okay, so now we're going to type in the answer choice. I mean, the other equation says y equals negative 5 plus 32. And all I'm going to do is click on where these two things intersect. 6.5 and negative 0.5. All right, let's go look what answer choice it wants. It wants the x value. So the x value is 6.5. So we circle 6.5 positive, and there you go. Okay. So what we did was we moved this over, and then we divided by the number in front of the y. Okay. So when I typed it into the to decimals, it was like this. Sorry, that's supposed to be a positive 22. And then I divided it by negative 5. Okay. That's what I typed into decimals. And then the other question that let me. So what I want y'all to do is first try to see if decimals going to let you type it in like that. If it doesn't, then you know you have to do that extra work and solve for y. Because it might or might not. It depends on what kind of, if they have the updated version or if it has the version that's going to let you type it in like this. Hopefully it has the older version. All right, so here's this one. Says which graph best represents this. So we're just going to type this equation in and figure out which one's going to look at the most. Okay, so we're going to cross this, take these out. Y equals 10, parentheses, 0.85, close parentheses. And I didn't do that part right. Has to be inside the parentheses. and then we do AB and do X. Okay. So we know it has to go this way, all right? It's going in this direction, okay? And it's going like that. So we need to figure out which graph is going this way. All right, let's zoom out a little bit. Where did I get this from? What? I don't know. Sorry, I don't know where that dot came from. All right, so really something like this that's going down. So let's look at our pictures. Okay, it can't be this one. These two are going up. Okay, so it has to be this one. This is the only one that looks like it. This one's a lot closer to the Y, and that's not the picture we see over here. So there we go. You're just matching up. All right, now we have this one right here. It wants to know the rate of change. So I don't need to type in the table anything. I just need to do the slope formula. So y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So 60 minus 96, negative 12 minus negative 20. So we go back over here and we're going to use decimals for it. Okay, so we hit the division key and we're going to put 60, okay. 60 minus 96, 60 minus 96, and then it was negative 12 minus negative 20. Here we go, negative 4.5. But all the answer choices are in fractions. So how do we get this fraction from this right here? You just click this button right here, changes it to a fraction, negative 9 over 2. And negative 9 over 2. What is the value for the solution? Okay, we already did this. Because this equals 0, we don't have to put in the other box the equals 0 part. We're just going to type in this part right here into the decimals. Okay, so 5x minus 36x plus 36. Okay, and we're looking for the x-intercept. So I got 1.2 and 6. So I go to my answer choices and figure out which one they gave me. They gave me 1.2 because they gave me negative 6, but it's 1.2 or positive 6. We're looking for the x-intercepts. Those are the solutions. Solutions are your x-intercepts. All right, we go down to the next problem. Okay, and this is exponential. Know that much, but we know that by looking at the graph too. And then what's the domain? Okay, the domain is the letter X. So we cross out the ones that have the Y. And remember, domain is always from left to right. Left to right. Okay, so we go and we look. The left, which is that dot, and it's at negative 2. At the right, it has an arrow. So because it has an arrow, I can only have one number. So I go to it and I look for the one that has negative 2 in it. The arrow means that it keeps going on forever and ever and ever. If you have a graph that has 2 arrows on the endpoints, then that means the graph continues going in both directions and your domain would be all real numbers. Okay, all right, we do the same thing we did on the other one. We're going to put one in one box and put the other one in the other box. Okay, so negative parentheses 6x plus 8 close parentheses. On the other one, I have 4 parentheses 17 minus x. Okay, I'm going to have to zoom out for these so I see where they intersect. Click on the dot. It says negative 38. Okay. So then that means that's what I'm going to type in here. I'm going to put negative in the first box, 38 in the second, 3 in the second, and 8 in the third box. Okay. All right, 43, we're almost done. Equivalent. So equivalent again means to match. So you're going to try to figure out which one matches what we have. So we write the equation first. type that in here, the one in the question. Y equals 3 parentheses x plus 2 squared. And then it said plus 7. Okay, so we can hit the home button right here so we can see. Let's take it there. Okay, so now we do one answer choice at a time. Y equals 3x squared plus 12x plus 33. Okay, all right, well, that doesn't match because it does this up there, so that doesn't match. All right, we go to the next answer choice, 12, same thing, but the last one's 19. That one matches. So my answer is this letter B. We're just looking for which one matches. Okay, this right here is asking you for what is a function. A function, the x's do not repeat. So you're looking for the one where the x's are all different numbers. All of these are negative 13, so that one's out. These two, they have two negative ones. This has two zeros, so that's it. So my answer is H. I don't care at all about the y's. All I have to do is look at the x's. The y's don't matter to me. All right, so far no one's asking questions, so I'm just moving along. All right, this one says parallel. So the first thing I'm going to do is write the equation and the ordered pair into decimals. So sorry, I don't know what she's laughing at. Okay, so I want to know which equation is going to go through that and go through that dot. So I go back over here and I type in my first one. Okay, my first one says y equals 1.2x minus 6. And hey, that's the one. Parallel means that the lines don't touch, and then that's the one that's going through that dot, 5, 0. So that's my answer. I'm looking for which one is not going to cross this line and is going to go through that 5, 0. So we graphed this one and we typed in that, and then we typed in the answer choices. Figured out which one was not going to intersect because that's what parallel means. And then which one was going to go through that ordered pair. So we got the graph, the quadratic. Okay, what statements can be supported. Okay, so when you have questions like this, what you want to do is you want to actually go and plot the points that they gave you and figure out if it makes sense. All right, this one says the x-intercept is located at negative 3, 0. This is the x-intercept. So yeah, it's true. So I would cross out this one because it doesn't have Roman numeral 1. Roman numeral 2 says that the y-intercept is 0, 9. Here's 0, 9. And yeah, that is the y-intercept. So that's a check. So you should have the Roman numeral 2 in there. That means this one's out because that doesn't have Roman numeral 2. Now I do Roman numeral 3. It says the axis of symmetry is x equals negative 3. I need to graph that line. X equals negative 3 goes this way. So notice I drew on this picture, so you're going to want to draw on the picture that they give you. There's no other way you can do this. Okay. I draw that line. Axis of symmetry means like what it meant in middle school. It's something that cuts you can fold it on top of each other and it cuts it in half, which this one does do. So that means my answer is all three of them. All right, here's this one. Okay, it wants to know which graph best represents the solution set for all the possible combinations of the number of hours that she worked at her first job and the number of hours she worked at her second. Okay, all right. So I go back and I figure out, well, what's the situation that's going on? It says that she can't work in no more than 48 hours a week. No more means it has to be less. Okay, so I'm looking for the line that's going to be shading below. Okay, this one's shading below, this one's shading below. These two are out. Okay. Now it said no more than 48. That means I can't go beyond 48. Okay, this graph right here has an arrow. That means it keeps going. So that's going past 48. My answer has to be this one. It's the only one that's staying within 48 hours. Okay, we got another one that says equivalent, so we're going to type in that answer. We're not going to put the q of x. You don't have to. You can just put y equals. And it's 9x squared minus 24x plus 16. All right, we got our graph. We're going to type in our first answer. Y equals 9x minus 4 x minus 4. Okay, it does not look like that. Okay, 3x plus 4. And then we do squared. Nope, that one's not it. Okay, we go and we do the next one, 9x plus 4. Oh. Okay, and then we do x plus 4. Nope, does not work, so that one's not it. So we do the last one. The last one says 3x minus 4. And then we do squared on the outside. And it's the one that matches. So these were not it. We got this one. It says which graph best represents the system of equations and its solution. Okay, so we already know that we tried it the other time and it didn't let us type in the way it looks. Okay, so what I want to do is just get this solved for y. So the first thing I'm going to do is move the 8x, and it's going to become negative. And then I'm going to divide it by the number in front of it, which is negative 4. So my equation is y equals negative 16 minus 8x Estoy hablando con niños, ama. All right, and we got that. Okay, now we do the next one. 6 minus 3x divide, and we're dividing by the number in front of the y, which is 15. Okay. I hit the home button so I can see it better. So we're looking for these two to cross right here on this side. So let's look which ones are crossing on that side. The only one is this one right here. It's closest to it. Wait, whoa, no, it's not. Is it? Did I do some? Ah, it's negative 6. There you go. I didn't put negative 6. There it goes. And yeah, it's that one. That's the only one that's crossing there. So I lucked out. I typed something in wrong and it still works. All right, here's this one. Okay. We graphed the equation that it gave us. Negative 1 divided by 4. Parentheses x minus 17. Big one. I messed something up. Minus 17.
Stop doing it. I can't see it. Stop. You're on the computer. Ow. Ow. Mommy, so lost. She's on her computer and she can see stuff. I don't want to play. Ow. It broke. Turn it off. It broke.
¿Cómo que broke?
The computer.
¿Qué pasó, Ali? ¿Qué es la computadora de tu abuelo?
The computer. Whoa. Whoa.
Okay, so here's my picture. All right. So domain is all real numbers because this graph keeps going. I don't have any endpoints. If I move it up, it's going to keep going. So I know it's all real numbers. All right, so I would cross out the ones that don't have all real numbers. All right. My range is my letter Y. This is the only one that has Y. Anything that says G of X, F of X, like this, they all mean the letter Y. Okay? And domain is X, range is Y. So this one right here had an X, so that couldn't be it. Okay. Remember, domain is all real numbers for any type of equation. All equations, all real numbers, unless they're telling you that you can only use specific numbers. Okay. When you're looking at a picture, it's easier to tell because both ends would have arrows, and then that would be all real numbers. All right, 51 right here, all we're doing is writing the equation. We're not solving. So we go over here and we notice that, hey, X represents the large, Y represents the small. So they bought 3 large plus 4 small. Why am I using addition? Because you're adding, you're buying these things. So when they're scanning them, they're adding the totals. And this is 64. So I cross out the ones that don't have that like that. Now I look at the next one. 1 large plus 8 small. But it didn't give me the number. It just told me that they paid $4 more than that. 4 more means that I'm adding. So that would be 68. And we're going here. This one's the parent function. It wants to know what happens when you do this. Right? Well, the linear parent function is f of x equals x. So I could type that into decimals. I would take this off. Next one is g of x equals negative f of x. And then it said
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
plus 3.
9, 10, 11,
Oh, it's h of x plus 3. So I'm looking for the one. I take the blue off because I'm not looking for the blue. I'm looking for this one. Zoom in. I'm looking for the one that's up here at 3. It's over here at 3. Okay, up at 3, and it's going down. The only one that's up at 3 and going down is this one. Okay, we got 2 more to go. It's 54 questions. All right, we got this one. We're just going to type it in. Equivalent means it matches. So the numbers have to match. So we're going to type that in. I'm going to take these off. And it's 4. Here's the square root sign. 147. So that's the number 48. So I'm going to type in my answer choice and see which one matches it. Okay, so 196 is too big. So I know that should be out. Okay, it's way too big. It's more. Okay. Well, we can try it anyway just so that y'all can see. It's 300. So we know that that one was wrong. Okay, we changed it and it's 12 and 7. I'm thinking this one's too low, but we can check. Yeah, it's too low. It's 31. So that one's out. So the next one's 3 and 7. I think that's going to be way low. Really low at 7. And then I do the last one, 28. And I believe it's 3 in the inside. And 48.49, same thing. So that's my answer. Okay. You're just typing them in until you come to equivalent. All right, next page. This one talks about varies directly. Varies directly was taught in middle school. What it is just proportions. 264 at the top, 11 at the bottom equals. You do another proportion. They want 408 centimeters. It needs to go across the other number that was centimeters. You're looking for this.
I'm trying not to disturb. Okay.
You're going to cross multiply. So cross multiply means to multiply the ones that are diagonal from each other and then divide by the number that's outside. So we're going to multiply 11 and 408. And then we're going to divide that by, what was it, 264. And my answer 17. Okay. And then go back here. And I'm going to stop recording. Okay.